All right, guys, what's up? This is Brad with Spike Fitness, and I'm going to do a little Q&A. Also, excuse me, for all my Korean friends and/or viewers. 안녕하세요. 저는 Brad입니다. 갑분습니다. Yeah. So just trying to say hello. Okay, so I wanted to do a video. There was a couple of videos that I've done recently. Are you pushing hard enough? And it's a choice to train despite. And had a lot of comments on those videos, and some of them were pretty good comments. So I just wanted to kick off on a live because I haven't done one in a while, and I'm just basically going to run through here and start responding directly to people's comments and posts or questions. And then if anyone happens to pop in as well, I can answer some questions as they come through. So first from Paul Brewer, he talked about how people that don't lift it don't get it. As you get older, you have to make decisions. Like it or not, option one might be the only option for some people. And so, in other words, kind of get in and get trained like a madman. So, Paul, I appreciate the comment. And yeah, I mean, there comes a time where you have to make a decision about, do you push forward and continue to train or not? So, in some instances, I think it's best to, get in and train, kind of like I demonstrated with that last video of are you pushing hard enough? But all that was done as a calculated risk. It wasn't as though I was just recklessly jumping into the training session and just seeing what I could do that day. It was kind of a slow progression to what I got up to with that 25 rep work, which was actually the intended work for that day. But then there are other days, like fairly recently, where I was feeling sick, and I'm coming down off of a cold right now, and I just didn't have it in me to train. And so I knew that if I continued to push forward and went into the gym, despite the fact that I wasn't feeling very well, I was just going to bury myself into a hole even worse. So as much as I, talk about train to spite and things like that, I mean to do so very intentionally and very calculated, right? So there's times to push and times to dial back. From Red Death, just wanted to check in and, was just give me props on the mindset. And I think that, a lot of people, a lot of young lifters, and lifters just in general, but especially, the younger, newer guys and gals to getting in and actually pursuing a real goal with fitness. It's a lot about mindset and dedication. And you really have to kind of make up your mind of how important something is to you. And so how important this thing, this objective, this goal, whatever it might be, however important it is to you, will really dictate how hard you're going to push toward it. And also has a huge impact on, your overall results. Because if you just kind of dabble and don't take anything too seriously, well, then you're gonna have a hard time kind of yielding results off of whatever it is that you're doing. But if you are able to dedicate yourself and really commit to whatever that goal might be, whether it's a particular bench or a total or just to be generally stronger, your dedication to that goal makes a huge difference. So for the it's a choice, Blue Weld 75, he asked. How do you go about fixing that? And essentially, he's talking about my groin tear. How do you go about fixing that? You just go to rehab, or are you going to have another surgery? He mentions the hernia surgery that I underwent to get it, reattached. Super rad stuff, man. But I had to comment on this one. So, Blue Weld, to your question, this particular injury is not something that would require surgical intervention. So, it is an injury that I've sustained before. I sustained an adductor tear on my right side over this past summer, so the summer of 2018. And it was fairly debilitating. I went through the whole imaging process and whatnot, and the determination was made that, again, no surgical intervention was necessary. The thought was that I tore the gracilis, which is a muscle that in the event that you have knee issues is something that they often harvest in order to make the repair for the knee. So it very much is something that you can live without. So in terms of how I approached it, yeah, I mean, I really did approach it through physical therapy. I had the opportunity in my previous duty station to have really great access to physical therapy and care, and so I went through that process under that care. So being kind of intimately familiar with what that looked like, I was able to more or less replicate that on my own here. And it was just some really simple stuff. It was doing some really light band. Just even as I sat in the computer and work and do things, just a really light, band, and wrapping that around my leg and doing some adduction. And it was just trying to get range of motion, and get some blood flow and all that stuff. So there was a lot of stuff that you didn't see in videos that I was doing. But yeah, it was all those like little basic rehabilitative type things that you would imagine I might do in the event of an injury. So thanks for that question, Blue Weld. Chet, my man Chet Bowles checks in with the "Are You Pushing Hard Enough" video, and he references a comment or a quote from Mark Bell, where Mark Bell says, "Find something that you love and let it kill you." Kind of goes with what what my overall message is, and it's something that comes up a lot, and I joke around a lot with people around me, because people will make comments about how me lifting heavy or something like that is going to kill me, or how I'm going to break, or how I'm going to whatever. And so my number one comment back to people who talk about the lifestyle that I choose and pursue, and how that may ultimately lead to my early demise, or breaking my body, or something to that effect, is kind of twofold. So the first thing I say is the number one cause of death is life, right? Like, none of us are getting out of this thing alive. We're all going to perish. So from right now to whenever that moment comes, this is all you got. And it's up to you to make the decision about how you want to live your life. And for me, I would rather live my life doing the things I enjoy doing, pursuing the things that genuinely make me happy. And if it leads to an early demise, or I happen to kick the bucket, 10 years, 15 years, early than I might ordinarily otherwise, I don't give a shit. Because in my mind, I would rather live the life that I want to pursue than feel like I have to stuff myself into some kind of a box, hoping, right? Just hoping that it might improve my overall longevity. So longevity for me is not something that I aspire to. I have no desire to live into my old age and have people take care of me, or become trapped in my own body. That is my number one fear. So I fully intend to live as hard as I can. And when it's my time, man. It's just, but at least when it comes, I can look back and say, I did the things I wanted to do. I enjoyed my life. I enjoyed my food. I enjoyed my drink. I enjoyed my friends, etc. Right? Right. So then the other thing is, when people talk to me about my lifestyle, is making that comment about, enjoying myself. So I very much am on that kick. So I'd rather have a life that I enjoy, that gives me daily fulfillment, than feeling like I gotta, live in some kind of, bubble. At any rate, again, checking in for the "Are You Pushing Hard Enough?" Walter, he asked, someone saying that your body won't adapt to the workload when you're working on in pain. Sounds like an excuse to me after seeing your video. So Walter, what I will say is to that comment is, always, whenever I'm working through one of my injuries, I avoid pain. So if something like legitimately hurts, I won't do it. Because pain is generally that warning for your body or your brain giving you that something bad's about to happen, right? Or that there's the potential for something bad to happen. And so when I start dipping into that pain threshold is when I usually back off, or I'll avoid and find some kind of another angle to attack, or do something else. So again, kind of referencing back to the video in terms of me doing those deadlifts in the wake of that tear, you'll hear me make that comment if you happen to catch it, that the pain that I experienced during the actual lift wasn't much different than just standing around, right? I was in constant pain. It generally felt like someone was kind of kicking me in the nuts pretty much 24 hours a day while that was going on. So, a little bit of lifting didn't exacerbate that pain threshold. So I just kind of kept going, and then I ended up hitting what the intent was for that day. So it all ended up working out. If you guys are jumping into the live chat, you can feel free to drop a comment, and I'll respond to you guys as well. But I'm essentially just kind of going through here and answering some questions that have come up on the chat lately, or in the comment box. And a lot of them I really liked, and I felt like they warranted, a direct response, via video. So that's what we're doing here today. XW, and he talks about how my outlook is exactly how he feels in the gym. Has been struggling a bit lately, getting into the gym and doing something physical is the only thing that keeps him going. Hitting the PRs on the back end of the program has made him feel like he can do something more than before, and he calls it stress lifting, turning pain into power. So I think that's a great motto, XY or XW. Turning pain into power. I think that's great. Being able to take the aggressions and the frustrations that you have inside of you, and then direct them into something healthy, right? Because there are a lot of very unhealthy ways to express, pain, anger, dissatisfaction, all other stuff. And then finding that outlet in the gym and being able to focus your energy on that and trying to get your energy out in a healthy manner, I'm all about it. And it's something that kind of keeps me going, especially while I'm here, because I don't really have a lot of the things that I normally love and adore. So I have less outlet than I normally do. So, I appreciate you kind of commiserating with me on that. And again, I know exactly how you feel. Dr. Death, he talks about how he's only a recreational gym goer, but it's either feast or famine, either chomping at the bit day after day. Doesn't matter what's going on or how tired he is. He's all about the weights. But then there'll be times where he gets a knock and he thinks, fuck it, and it's all excuses about why not to go to the gym. And I think I think that's a probably very common thing, DD. Man, like it people go back and forth, and it's the ebbs and flows of life. There are times where I'm not very motivated to do something myself, or not very energetic to get to the gym. But again, I go back to my goal, setting that overarching goal, and the overarching goal for me is always just outdoing myself. There isn't anyone that I'm in direct competition with that I feel like I need to outdo or whatever. It's always been whether I can do it or not, and so that's kind of the eternal struggle, so to speak. And being able to focus on that keeps it relevant enough, but unattainable enough to keep me pushing. Because obviously, I'm just going to keep outdoing myself until sometime I can't. And so that's kind of always the goal for me, is just kind of continue pushing. I do have my hard days too, and you've seen some of that me talk about it in the front end of some of my videos. You're going to see me talk about it on the front end of some of my other videos here coming up in the near future. Again, I just try to utilize that as an outlet for me to kind of get out that frustration. So I hope that you can do the same thing too, brother. A. Kenneth says, as you said, let's not give up. However, when your body screams stop, thinking of all the injuries recently, listen to that voice. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. I don't disagree with that. There are times where I have been unable or incapable of doing the things that I wanted to do. But I generally try to find a way around whatever it is that's limiting me. And my body has never got to the point where I've just said, stop, I cannot do anymore. I need to quit. I don't know if I'll ever get there, because my drive to continue to push and just and drive myself forward is pretty intense. Maybe there'll be a point in time in the future when I'm older than I am now. I'm 36, where I've worn myself out and I'm tired of the grind, or I'm tired of the constant whatever. And maybe at that point, when my body says stop, I'll stop. But my body's never told me that. There are things that my body tells me I can't do. And I just try to work around and find out what I can do. So certainly if there's something that your body says you should not do this, listen to your body, man. But yeah, you gotta find what works for you. Flesh Feast, he talking about moment a minute 6:57 out of my video from Are You Pushing Hard Enough, where I mentioned, what are you waiting for? Get your ass in the gym. And he says every time he considers skipping the gym, he puts on one of my videos, and then he gets up and goes. Today was one of the days he clicked over a video of Thor, Juji, and Larry Wheels doing a log because he knew my video would get him in the gym. Like, I'm going to tell you guys, and anyone that watches this, comments like that that makes my freaking day, because it's amazing for me that I could be doing anything that any of you out there would be even mildly interested in. And the idea that I have the opportunity to inspire you to improve your life through strength, for me is amazing. I give a rip about what your goal is, right? It doesn't matter to me if you want to be the strongest gymnast or the strongest strongman or the strongest, mom. I don't care what your end state is, as long as you're finding a way to improve your life through strength, and to be able to do videos and have people tune in and check them out, for me means the world. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to help inspire you, and it means a lot that you jump over some other big names and check out my channel to draw that inspiration. So thank you, brother. Les Bennett just jumps in and says same, as in, kind of feels the same way about it. So Les, thanks for checking in. I appreciate that, brother. Jeffrey Lord, he says, I think you got heart, a warrior's desire to run toward battle. That's you. Jeffrey, thanks, man. And again, it just circles back around to the goals and the how much it means to me personally, right? Like this is something that's deep seated within me. I view it as part of my character, as a makeup of who I am as a human being. Gym is associated with that. Pushing is associated with that. Not fucking quitting is associated with my idea of who I am as a human being. So it really is central to my character for me to continue to do the things that I do. And it means the world to me, again, that by me being who I am and doing what I would normally do means anything to you guys. So that's fucking cool. My man Arno checks in and he says, he trains because he's angry, sad, and depressed, and that makes him stronger and focused. And again, Arno, tracking, man, I understand. I've never been through what you've been through, so I can't say that. I can comprehend how you may feel. And I can also understand how continuing to go to the gym and drive and do what you're doing would keep you focused, and the things that you've gone through would keep you going. And so I wholeheartedly agree. My hat's off to you, man. You're a sense of motivation for me as well. Going to the No Magic Potion video. Mike Hannan mentions that some great points, and this is me talking about keeping things super basic. He says, great points you touched on. The basics are super important. I personally prefer to keep my workouts on the simpler side. And yeah, Mike, that video was really geared at just seeing a lot of stuff on YouTube, because I believe that my channel is more of an entry level channel. I envision people who are either kind of just getting into strength and training, checking out my videos, or people who are getting back into strength and training, checking out my videos. Guys, gals, whoever, maybe early mid 30s, kind of wanting to regain some sense of youth and strength, or maybe some younger guys that are perhaps in the Army, wanting to improve their physical fitness and strength and just general physical preparedness. And so I think simplicity is a really important thing, and to not overcomplicate the process, because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to get stronger. It just takes kind of doing some of the basic compound movements, keeping it very simple and structured, and then having progression. You don't have to compound the complexity of everything by incorporating every little nuanced tip and trick that you see, especially at the beginning. As you become more advanced, there becomes more necessity to specialize and do different things, or to try different methods, because after a certain point your body will begin to adapt out, and when you get less, a little bit more important to try different variations to kind of stimulate that adaptation. Circle back around to the Are You Pushing Hard Enough video. Michael Price jumps in, says, thanks for sharing. We all have things we come to struggle with, and it's nice to see others overcome what they can. Last few weeks made me feel less than a human being, and my training suffered. I did, however, get what I needed done, and was able to stick up for myself despite how I was feeling about myself. Michael, I definitely understand, man. There are times in my life, even up to today, where I have difficulties and I have struggles working with people around me. Very recently, I had some issues with an individual, and so it's hard. Those interpersonal relationships sometimes can really weigh us down as much as they can lift us up. But as much as I can, I try to make sure that I draw my own self-worth from internal, right? So my ability to execute the things that I think are important. That's me continuing to go to the gym and do the things that I love to do. Me continuing to uphold the things that I hold in high regard. Me continuing to be able to take care of my family. Me continuing to be a good father and attempt to be a good husband. And and there are times where I'm not a great father. I'm not a great husband. I'm not a great friend. I'm not, we all have our times where we're highs and lows. But I think it's that overarching intent and where we want to be that really defines us as a person, and being able to come back to center to get ourselves back right again after we've kind of, strayed off the trail, so to speak. So everyone has ups and downs, Mike. I understand. I go through it. Just keep your chin up, set small goals, set little tiny goals in front of you, really, really attainable things. That's kind of how I come through really hard times. Sometimes it's as simple as, I'm going to go to the gym today, and at the very least, even though I don't want to be there, I'm going to walk on the treadmill. And then I find sometimes if I walk on the treadmill, I might want to stick around and do a couple little things, and then I get into a workout, right? So real small, measurable goals. That's a good way to pull yourself out of the funk sometimes. This question right here was one of the main reasons why I wanted to do a live video response to some of the recent questions, comments that I've gotten onto onto the comment section. And this is from El Hero. And El asks me, are you not enjoying Korea, or is the injury bringing you down? And that's a great question, El. And it's a little bit of both. So, I'm not bashful at all about admitting that I never, ever in my entire life ever wanted to come to Korea. And I never, ever, ever wanted to leave the United States ever again. Obviously, kind of a difficult task as an active duty soldier. But especially coming here to Korea came under circumstances that were less than optimal. There were a number of people who failed to uphold their ends and their positions, their jobs, that actually directly contributed to me having a one-way ticket to Korea. And I'm specifically referring to some of the medical stuff that goes on within the Army. I won't get into the details of it because it's not all that exciting. But essentially, because a number of other people failed, I was guaranteed a position here in Korea. And the fact that other people didn't do their jobs and led me to be separated from my family is something that I cannot describe how angry I am, because essentially I view this as kind of essentially the worst kind of rape. I'm having 4 years of my children's life stolen from me because somebody failed to do their job. I'm not there for my little girls. I'm not there for my son to be there during these difficult times. The stress that this has caused on my family is just unfathomable, right? But despite that, trying to do the best I can with what I've got. The fact of the matter is I'm here and I got a choice. I can either turn this into a terrible, horrible, miserable experience, or I can try to do the best I can with what I got to turn this around. And so that's what I'm attempting to do, is make this as good of an experience as I can. The bright side of this is there's a number of things that I can work on while I'm here that I'm very excited about. The opportunity to be able to put more time and energy into the channel is something that I'm also very excited about. If I were home having to deal with the responsibilities of being a father and a husband and all that other stuff, I may not be able to put out as many videos and do as many things as I can right now. So it really provides me a great opportunity to try to grow the channel and reach as many people and help as many people as I can. And that means a great deal to me. So it isn't that I don't like Korea. Truth to be told, I genuinely enjoy Korea. I was terrified about coming here because I had never been separated from my family for more than, say, 6 months. I didn't know what the community or the environment would be like. I was afraid that, me being here as like, a 300-pound, white guy stomping around in Korea, that, I'd be getting people that would not like me or that would be rude or mean to me. But I got to tell you, being here in Korea and being around some of the locals and meeting friends of friends, the people that are here, they just live here. They're really cool. And generally speaking, everyone is super positive about Americans. There's stuff outside our gate constantly where they're putting on a demonstration for their support of America and the support of the fact that we're here, helping them with, kind of their defense and all that other stuff. So being here in Korea is also a lot of things I didn't expect. So I don't want to make it sound like it's all doom and gloom and I hate Korea, because I really don't. There's some really, really amazing people here. I've met some really great friends since I've been here, had some very amazing food. And so I'm trying to take what was originally a very bad thing and try to turn it into as good a thing as possible. Then talking about the injury, yeah, man, like injuries suck. I don't think anyone wants an injury, but if you're in the game long enough and you're pushing hard enough, your injuries are going to come. And it's one of those things where you have to, take the hit and try to work through it. If you guys look back in the video where the injury actually happened, I'm talking to the camera after the moments after the injury, I was floored. I didn't even know how to appropriately respond to the fact that I knew I was hurt, because I was so upset that I had been hurt. So there's major downturn at that moment in time. But it's by slowly discovering what I can do that I begin to kind of expand that bubble of my capability. And expanding that capability is what brings me kind of out of that funk, so to speak. So that really helps me. And again, kind of going back to like the very next day, I was using this band on my leg in order to perform some adduction. And just the fact that I was able to do that was something, right? And so a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. So, El, very long answer to your question, but I feel like it was a really important question. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video, because I wanted to make it kind of very clear about how I feel and what's going on. And so, yeah, turning positives into, or turning negatives into positives, lemons into lemonade, so to speak. It always made me laugh. There's a quote from the movie. It's like, you know, if God gives you lemons, you find a new God. I always thought that was funny, but it's about turning around the situation, make it work for you. My man Randy drops in, says he doesn't compete, and he can tell that a lot of people seem to get hurt and regress into a bad spot with pain, and that pain keeps them from moving in a natural pattern. Over time, that injury becomes part of them, and then the pain resides as well. So the quicker you get back to moving in correct natural pattern, the faster and more complete the recovery. Yeah, Randy, absolutely, I totally agree. So, you know, I believe that the word recovery is an active word, not a passive word, right? So when you sustain an injury, whatever that injury may be, or however severe that injury is, recovery is active. And it's something that you need to make a conscious choice to pursue. It doesn't happen all at once, and it's not always very easy. But by being active, by trying to restore motion and restore natural movement as best as possible, I believe that you give yourself the best opportunity to make the best recovery possible. So totally concur, bud. All right, so I talked about how, despite the fact that I was hurt and continuing to push, that I don't believe that that makes me necessarily tough, and I don't. But my man Paul jumps in and he says, "Well, you look tough." Thanks, man. You know, we're all out just doing what we can do, and we're all kind of slogging through life, as it were. Some days are better than others, but it's always a choice, right? You got to choose to quit, or you got to choose to quit going. But either way, it's a choice. So I'd rather keep going and be in pain and be strong than quit and be weak and not strong. Yeah, all right. So Gary jumps in. So Gary just throwing me some support. Says we're behind you, dude. Got your back. Yeah, even though we're not there, we train the same spirit, always forward. So Gary, you know, I just appreciate the support, man. Overwhelmingly, every single day, all the comments and things that come onto the channel are overwhelmingly positive. So I have to thank every single one of you that watches the videos, because you guys are helping to build this kind of community of very supportive, very, you know, positive energy. You know, I've had people drop negative comments on, one of which was my friend. And I was very quick to say, hey, man, that's not going to fly here. I don't want to hear any of that, because I don't want anyone to see the channel and feel like this is going to be any kind of an environment where there's going to be negativity. Constructive criticism, yes. Negativity, no, it's not acceptable. And again, people have also asked me recently if I'm going to continue to do form checks and things like that. Absolutely. Send me your videos. You can DM them to me on Instagram. You can send them to me in email. Emails in the comment boxes for my videos and things like that. And yeah, so any way that you guys want to give me videos, I will be glad to look into form checks as well. So bear that in mind as well. My man Louis jumps in. He says, when you said you'd probably go no higher than 135, I knew it wouldn't be the case. Another great video, and I can really relate to it. People that don't understand and think you're crazy can think what they want, but it's also good to know that some people understand you, and we do. So Louis, I appreciate that. I think that generally speaking, if you're drawn to the channel and you watch the channel with any regularity, you're probably of a similar mindset to me in some way, shape, or form. That doesn't necessarily mean that we share the same goals, but that there's a spirit there of wanting to pursue, wanting to advance. And I had a very good conversation with an NCO that's actually here at Camp Humphreys with me, and he sat down and talked to me and said that, you know, he really enjoyed the channel. That he wasn't necessarily, you know, a gym rat or a gym goer, but found himself drawn to the channel, and, you know, likes the inspiration for kind of getting in and trying to better himself. And so that he's kind of just generally pursuing being stronger, and can definitively say that in the time that he spent at the gym after watching the channel, that he is stronger now than he was last year. And that means the world to me. I would as much love to hear that as to hear, you know, any one of you say that you followed my program and hit a PR, or smash some kind of a local record or a national record, or, you know, whatever. Like, I'm super about people making their lives better, and whatever that means to you, I'm all about it. I support it wholeheartedly, and I think it's awesome. So yeah, so I really do appreciate Louis and all of you guys just kind of having that energy with me and being kind of here with me. I think that's pretty cool. My man Thomas Gustafson, he says, "Amen, brother." So yeah, again, you know, just being able to do things that resonate with you guys, I think is pretty cool. Another reason why I wanted to do the video is another specific question here, and this one comes from Road to 500 Pound Squat. And so again, specifically referring back to the injury, he mentions, what about doing mobility and cardiovascular stuff um, uh, this time after you're injured? So what you don't see in any of the videos really is a lot of the cardio and things that I've been doing. Being an active duty soldier, I have an APFT coming up, which is our physical fitness test. Actually, it's going to happen tomorrow morning. And so for that, I'm required to run 2 miles. So in the wake of the injury, I very much had to focus on trying to regain some measure of mobility and begin to do the cardiovascular training. And for me, that tends to represent itself as, jumping on a treadmill and knocking out a mile and keeping and holding certain paces. And then once I've met that threshold, continuing to bump up and increase the speed so that I know confidently I can maintain a speed for a set distance. That's usually a good measure for me to know that I'm going to be good to go for the test. So those things did happen, but you don't see a lot of it. Now, in terms of like mobility work, when a lot of people mention like mobility work, a lot of times they're kind of lumping in foam rolling and things like that. I'm not a real big fan of foam rolling. There are potentially some times and places where it could be of utility, but I think generally speaking, the vast majority of people that get involved in foam rolling really just end up wasting a lot of their time. I am more apt to get in and begin going through a range of motion through a workout than I am to do any kind of mobility work, with the foam roller and things like that. I'm much more likely to throw a lightweight onto a bar and go full range of motion for squats. So again, in future iterations of videos, as I show you kind of my recovery rehabilitation from the injury, you're going to see me squatting because I believe that, going through the full range of motion under some load was the best way for me to get back to where I wanted to be, which was squatting. So that's kind of how I pursued that and skinned that cat. Is it the best way? I don't know, but it tends to work for me pretty good. And I'm already back up to being able to sustain 5 or 6 sets of 405, full range of motion, to depth without much difficulty or discomfort. The injury essentially happened, I think, 10 weeks ago at this point. So I'm very pleased with my recovery since the moment of trauma. All right, so Dustin Chestnut jumps in, says, "Good stuff, sir. Refreshing to hear you say things like this doesn't make me tougher. I think a lot of guys think they're badass for stupid things. Pardon my language, but you ain't shit. Can you do all this stuff? Till you can do all this stuff while being a husband and father. Just my opinion." And he says, "Thanks, Brad." So Dustin, thanks, man. I see you on the channel all the time, and I appreciate the support. I don't know about you guys. Well, I don't know how other people do, but when I see all the same names popping up all the time, it's hard for me not to get to know you guys a little bit too and learn little things about your lives. So when I see you guys popping up in the comments repeatedly, video after video, I come to look for you guys. I come to expect and enjoy seeing the same names popping up over and over again. I love it when new names pop in as well. But it's again kind of goes back to that sense of community. Now, within that sense of community, I've always been very clear about how I think it's important to be inclusive, not exclusive. And I think that there are too many people that try to kind of market themselves as badass, right? They're hardcore. And lifting weight and then setting it down in of itself does not make you badass or hardcore. It makes you strong, maybe. It's pretty cool, but I don't think that it necessarily makes you a badass. And unfortunately, I had a very negative experience when I was in Florida. There was a group of people that centered around one gym in particular that had a very kind of exclusive, elitist mindset. And to me, that kind of behavior, that kind of attitude in the realm of sport as a community is actually rather disgusting. I think that if you are trying to be, that quote unquote, elite hard ass that, everyone just wants to stay away from, you're doing it wrong. Because if you get to a point where you're an elite athlete and you're one of the best in the world, I feel like you have an obligation to try to inspire people to bring them into the sport. I mean, the powerlifting as a sport, I mean, obviously that's what I subscribe to. But powerlifting as a sport only gets better when we have more people doing it. That's more people trying to hit new records, and records within powerlifting have been exploding over the last 10 years. And that's because more people have been coming in. And if you have this group of people that just want to be, the social elite within powerlifting and want to try to push people out because, you're not you're not elite enough, or you're not, you're not part of the, I don't know, the chosen few. I feel like that's a really disgusting, way to carry yourself. And yeah, I'll have none of it, at least not for me, or how I conduct myself. So, um, Dustin, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you dig the things that I'm up to, and I hope that as all of you become stronger yourselves and become kind of emissaries of strength, or emissaries of powerlifting, or whatever it is sport that you choose to go to, that you kind of carry forward that idea of inclusivity and bringing people into sport, because I think that makes us all better. So enough of that. All right, onward. Mental Gear talks about how no talent can beat being humble and hardworking. The way this was written, I didn't really understand it, but I think what he's trying to say is that being humble, keeping a positive attitude, can really beat out talent kind of any day. And I think to a large extent that's probably right. You can be the most talented individual in the world, but if you don't apply yourself, it's really all for naught. And someone who doesn't necessarily have the natural abilities or whatever, if they really apply themselves and push themselves in a way that other people aren't willing to, you can really do amazing things. So then William Murphy jumps in and says, "You spoke to my soul in this video, bro. I feel the exact same way about lifting, thinking all day about it, dreaming about it, and then you get fucked up and you can't release it on the weights and shit. You live up to training despite much respect." Yeah, I mean, again, kind of going back to the whole thing with me being Korea, me being separated from literally everything that I adore, and really the only things that mean much of anything to me is my family. I'm relatively a homebody. I don't particularly enjoy traveling. I don't particularly enjoy, exploring the world. I would be just as happy living in, the confines of my home and training in my garage for the remainder of my life. But it is what it is, right? So, being here, I could choose to be hung up on all the negativity of the things that I've kind of mentioned, and other stuff as well. Or I can choose to focus on the things that kind of carry me forward. And so that's what I choose to focus on, is that hunger and that drive to be in the gym. So despite the fact that I've, suffered a few injuries even while I've been here, the drive to continue to go to the gym for me is something that I can't get past. And so it's a check the block. It's something that helps me make the day go by, right? It's that opportunity, like, it's one of my blocks on my checklist of things that I need to do that day. And so very much most every single day I wake up absolutely hungry to go to the gym. And that's all days, squat, bench, and deadlift. So having that hunger for me really makes kind of days roll by. So yeah, I like that a lot. And I think that, I'm glad that you kind of feel the same way about stuff. It's nice to know that, there's other people that look at training the same way that I do. And that just kind of makes days go by. Gotta get back to the comments here. I got past them. What else we got here? Just probably a few more for this, and then we'll call it quits. Going back to the No Magic Potion, Spence lifts, talks about how he and his wife are moving at the end of the month to be training at home primarily, and just really working with some of the basics. Excited to see how things work for him, working kind of under basic conditions, essentially is what he says. And Spence, I agree, man. Kind of going back to basics, I think is a great thing. Focusing on simple compound movements is a really great way to develop strength in general for whatever your purpose is, powerlifting, strongman, or otherwise. And yeah, I think that you can do quite a lot. Just staying focused to what it is you're doing and just rolling out into the home gym and doing the deal. So best of luck to you on the move, and I hope that the training continues to go well as you move into your garage gym. On the It's Choice Train Despite video, Mike Hannon. I'm going to say Hannon. I hope I don't pronounce that wrong, brother. But he compliments me on the overhead PR. I'm glad to see that the groin isn't hurting too bad. Yeah, again, it was. I was in pain whether I was standing there or lifting, so I might as well do something. And I felt like trying to hit an overhead PR in my attempt to chase down Olu would be kind of something fun. I don't really do too much overhead work, so it was kind of fun for me to hit a PR. The 225. I think I can hit more now at this point. And maybe again here at some point in the near future, I will Also, top chat, live chat, all messages are visible. Just want to make sure I'm not missing any chats. And so far, I'm not. So you guys haven't asked me any questions yet. Yeah, so I'll be doing some more overhead work here in the near future. All right, so last one that I'm going to talk to is the Exploring Korea Suwon video. And that was just kind of an exploratory video that I was doing, just kind of showing you guys me bopping around in Korea and having some fun with my buddy Matt, having him make me climb hills, the day or two after I tore my groin, which was a total dick move. So my buddy S. Isaacs says, cardio up, LMAO. Brad, you have me dying over here. On a serious note, it's pretty cool, man. Appreciate you sharing your travels on here so everyone can see along with you. And yeah, I got to thank you guys for checking out some of these videos. I try to do, obviously, the preponderance of all my focus for videos is trying to do stuff fitness related, answering some questions, motivational type stuff, hopefully inspiring you guys to get in there and chase your dreams and train despite not finding an excuse, but finding the way. But that video of Exploring Suwon, one of the longer videos that I've done, but I felt like it was also kind of one of my funnier videos as well, because I didn't have something that I was trying to achieve. So you really got a sense of what it's like to actually walk around with me. I tend to pop wise quite a lot and goof off and make jokes and try to make people laugh. So I feel like if you watch that video, you can get a really good sense of kind of my humor and how I get down. So if you want to know what it's like to walk around and hike a mountain with me, that's pretty much it. But anyway, if you guys check out that video, I had a lot of fun making that video. Obviously, it's a little off topic for the channel and one of the longer videos, so it's not one of the more popular ones right now. But I had a lot of fun doing it. Yeah, guys, those are the questions that I wanted to get through for this video, and we're already on 41 minutes. We've had a number of people popping in and out, throughout the video. So if you've asked a question, I hope that I've gotten to your question. I wanted to see if anyone would jump into the chat and leave any chat questions here, but I don't see anything so far. So yeah, we'll just call it a day. And I want to thank you guys for continuing to check out the channel, continue to support the channel. I want to do some stuff in the near future, more militarily related, try to help out some of my military brethren, specifically Army, for the upcoming test, which the Army is supposed to roll out, that will include a deadlift. I know that there's a lot of concern, for deadlift among my military brethren, feeling like, it could lead to injuries and things like that. So I'd like to do some stuff with some of the juniors, going through some instructional stuff that, hopefully other soldiers can check out as well. So if you're a soldier, Army or otherwise, I appreciate you guys showing the videos and introducing me to your friends and things like that, and help the channel grow. It's amazing how far we've come since the channel began, and I really owe everything to all of you guys for continuing to check out and support the videos. It means the world to me. Hanako GH, good to hear you here, man. Thanks for the live stream. Yeah, man, I appreciate all your questions and support on the channel, along with everyone else. You guys really do a really great job of continuing to check in and let me know what's going on in your lives and responding to the video. So I really do appreciate the overwhelming positivity that we have in the channel. It means a lot to me. Yeah, without any other additional questions, guys, we'll go ahead and close it down, because this is a damn long video, and it's highly unlikely that anyone's going to sit through the entirety of this video. But I wanted to make sure that I had an opportunity to kind of check with you guys and answer some questions, because some of those comments were better served than actual live response. Good times. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, you're always free to hit me up in the comments box. I will respond, again, either by video or direct response. You guys can continue to hit me up on IG. I do respond to direct messages. You guys can hit me up with form check questions and things like that. Send me your videos. We can talk about how to do all that, or send them to my email, send them to my IG, send me a link on YouTube, and, we'll go through all that as well. You guys continue to help me with the likes, the shares, and the subs. It means a lot to me. Remember, guys, no matter what it is you think you can't do, train despite. You're either going to find an excuse or you're going to find a way. I appreciate you guys finding that way, and I wish you the best in all of your endeavors. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.